P&O Cruises have just launched a brand new all-inclusive package for 2026. But what exactly is it? What do you actually get? And is it really better than just booking things separately? Because on the surface, it looks like a simple decision. Drinks, Wi-Fi, and dining all bundled together. But once you start digging into how it actually works on board, there are a few details that can completely change whether it's good value for you or not. So in this video, I'll walk you through 10 things you really need to know, and more importantly, help you decide whether you should actually book it. So first of all, what actually is this new all-in package? Because the name makes it sound like you're getting a fully all-inclusive cruise where everything is covered. But that's not really what this is. What P&O Cruises have done here is bundle together three of the main things people tend to spend money on once they're on board. That's the drinks package, Wi-Fi, and some specialty dining. So rather than being something completely new, it's actually a combination of things that already existed, just packaged together into one daily price. And that's important, because it means all the same rules still apply. The drinks package still has limits. The Wi-Fi is per person and per device, and the specialty dining is based on credit, not unlimited access. So how does it actually work once you're on board? You pay a fixed price per person, per day, and that includes those three elements. But the key thing to understand is that each part works differently. The drinks package works exactly the same as it always has. You order drinks as normal, hand over your cruise card, and if it's included in your package, there's nothing extra to pay. Wi-Fi is linked to your account, and it's limited to one active device at a time per person. And the dining credit is added to your onboard account, so you're effectively spending it once you're on the ship, rather than having anything pre-booked in advance. The classic all-in package is the entry-level option, and it's priced at £49 per person per day. With this, you get the classic drinks package. That includes cocktails up to around £8.50, wines by the glass, beers, single spirits, soft drinks, Costa coffee, and alcohol-free options. For many people, that's enough, especially if you're not too bothered about premium brands or larger measures. You also get the essential Wi-Fi package, which is designed for basic use. So things like browsing, emails, and messaging apps. And then you get a dining credit, which depends on your cruise length. If you're traveling as a family, there is an added benefit. Children in the same cabin get the refresh drinks package included, but that only applies to drinks, not anything else. The deluxe version is currently £10 more per day, so £59 per person. And this is where the package becomes more complete. You get the deluxe drinks package, which includes premium spirits, larger wines, double measures, and a wider selection of cocktails and craft beers. You also get the ultimate Wi-Fi package, which is a big step up. That includes streaming and video calls, so you can use it much more like you would at home. And the dining credit increases as well, depending on the length of your cruise. Now, this is one of the areas where people often get caught out. With the classic package, you get essential Wi-Fi. That's fine for basic use, checking emails, browsing websites, and sending messages. But it doesn't support streaming, video calls, or watching social media videos. With Deluxe, you get ultimate Wi-Fi, which does include all of that. Now, here's a really important detail. Wi-Fi is only included for the adults who have purchased the package. Children, even though they get the refresh drinks package, do not get Wi-Fi included. So if they want internet access, that's an extra cost. Officially, it's one device per person, but in reality, you can log out and switch devices, and a lot of people do that. But you can only use one device at a time per login. Where this really matters is how you actually use Wi-Fi on board. On sea days, you're much more likely to use it throughout the day. On port days, especially in Europe, you might just use your mobile data instead. So whether Wi-Fi has value really depends on your itinerary and how connected you want to be. On the all-inclusive package, the amount of dining credit you receive depends on both the package you choose and the length of your cruise. On the classic all-inclusive package, you would receive £20 per person on a cruise of 5 to 9 nights, £40 per person on a cruise of 10 to 14 nights, and £55 per person on a cruise of 15 nights or more. On the deluxe all-inclusive package, that increases slightly. You would receive £30 per person on a cruise of 5 to 9 nights, £60 per person on a cruise of 10 to 14 nights, and £80 per person on a cruise of 15 nights or more. That credit is added to your onboard account, which means you can only use it once you're on the ship. So you can't use it to pre-book a restaurant before your cruise. Once you're on board, you're effectively using that credit like spending money. You book a restaurant, dine as normal, and the cost is taken off your onboard account until that credit is used up. And there's one other thing to keep in mind here. Because more people on board now have this dining credit, demand for specialty restaurants is likely to increase. you may find these venues getting busier, which means having a bit of flexibility with times, or choosing slightly easier to book venues like Keel and Cow or the Glass House can make it much easier to actually use that credit. Now let's compare this properly with buying everything separately, because this is what really determines whether the all-in package works for you. On the surface, this looks like a very easy decision. At the moment, the all-in package is a similar price to the drinks package on its own, so it feels like you're getting Wi-Fi and dining credit bundled in for free. But there is one important difference. If you buy a drinks package separately before your cruise, you can apply your peninsula discount. You don't get that with the all-inclusive package. So the real question becomes, what were you planning to buy anyway? If you were already going to buy a drinks package and Wi-Fi, then the all-in package can work out as very good value, even without that discount. But if you only wanted one of those, then the maths changes. But there's another option as well, which is just paying as you go. And for some people, that will still be the better choice. If you don't drink every day, or you're off the ship a lot on port days, then paying for what you actually use can work out cheaper than any package. Now, one thing a lot of people are asking is whether this replaces the drinks package, and the answer is no. The drinks packages are still available exactly as they were before. This is just an additional option. So you still have the flexibility to choose what works for you. And if you want to see exactly what the drink prices are on board, I've linked some of the bar menus from my recent Iona cruise in the description below, so you can have a proper look before you go. So, is it actually worth it? And this really depends on how you cruise. If you're on a sea-day heavy itinerary, where you're spending a lot of time on board, using the bars, the restaurants, and the Wi-Fi, then this can work very well. But on a port-heavy cruise, especially in Europe, where you're off the ship most days, it becomes much harder to justify. On quieter ships like Arcadia, where people tend to drink less and the pace is slower, it often doesn't make sense. For families, there are a couple of things to consider. Children in the same cabin do get the refresh drinks package included when adults buy the all-in package, so that does add value. So this really isn't about whether the package is good or bad, it's about whether it fits how you cruise. If you look at other cruise lines, many of them have already moved towards bundled pricing, but they do it in slightly different ways. Princess Cruises, for example, offers their Plus and Premier packages, which bundle drinks, Wi-Fi, and gratuities into the fare. Plus also includes some casual dining, while Premier goes further with things like unlimited drinks, up to $20, and unlimited specialty dining. So that's much closer to a fully all-inclusive model, where most of your onboard spend is already covered. Royal Caribbean takes a different approach. Most people still build their own package by adding a drinks package, Wi-Fi, or even an unlimited specialty dining package. So, in practice, a lot of guests are still going all-inclusive. Royal Caribbean do occasionally run bundled or promotional offers, but it's not their standard model. What P&O Cruises are doing here sits somewhere in between those two approaches. Choosing the all-in package is only part of it. How you actually plan and use your time on board can make a big difference to your cruise overall. In the next video, I'll go through the biggest mistakes people make on P&O Cruises and how to avoid them.